morning, students. In this video lecture, I am going to teach you about the hypothalamus. In this video, I will be teaching you about the location, extent, and the various subdivision of the nuclei present into the hypothalamus. In the next video, I will tell you about the connection, both afferent and efferent, and the functions of the hypothalamus. So let's come to the next slide where I will tell you about the location of the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus on right as well as onto the left side, okay, it lies below the thalamus, okay, below the thalamus. That means thalamus is dorsal to it and the hypothalamus lies, okay, below this thalamus. This is the thalamus as we have seen in our last video. This is the fornix, and then this is the septum pellucidum, the corpus callosum, and this is the thalamus. This is interthalamic adhesion, and this dotted line indicates the subthalamic or hypothalamic sulcus, which connects the interventricular foramina to that of the cerebral aqueduct of the midbrain. Now just below this cerebral aqueduct, I would say below this hypothalamic sulcus, this triangular area, this is the hypothalamus. Thus it lies ventral to the thalamus, okay, and it is a very small area. Now if you will see this, this is on right as well as on to the left side. This hypothalamic part is not visualized from the ventral surface of the cerebral hemisphere. If you will see the whole of the brain, okay, from the ventral surface, only a small part of the hypothalamus can be seen on the external surface. Otherwise, both the right hypothalamus and left hypothalamus, which forms the lateral wall of the third ventricle, they lie inside, okay, they lie inside. Let us see which is that part of the hypothalamus which can be visualized, okay, on the ventral surface of the brain. Now, this part of the hypothalamus, which is seen on the external surface of the brain on its ventral surface, is a very small part, and this is located in the interpedunculaire fossa. Let us see, this is the optic chiasma, optic tract, the crus cerebri, and in between the two crus cerebri or crura cerebri of the right and left side, there is this small triangular structure is present, which is in the depth, and this is the interpeduncular fossa. And this interpeduncular fossa forms the floor of the third ventricle, as well as these structures are part of the hypothalamus. If we see the parts of the hypothalamus which are visualized on the external surface of the brain, then this will be the optic chiasma, then this is the median eminence, the tuber cinerarium, and this is the infundibular stalk, which will give attachment to the posterior pituitary. So infundibular stalk, the median eminence, the tuber cinerarium, and posterior to these two rounded bodies, which are mammillary bodies. Thus the mammillary body is the part of the hypothalamus, and a small area just posterior to the mammillary bodies but anterior to the posterior perforated substance. This small area is the area of the hypothalamus which is visualized only on the external surface of the brain. Otherwise, a major part of the hypothalamus and thalamus, both they are inside, okay, both on the right as well as onto the left side. Let us move to the slide where we will see the extension of the hypothalamus and its boundary. Now if you see the extension of the hypothalamus, this is small triangular area which lies below the hypothalamic sulcus. It extends from the lamina terminalis anteriorly to that of the mammillary body, which is not shown in this diagram, but this is the location where my cursor is here. This is the location of mammillary body. So it extends just a vertical imaginary line which is passing posterior to the mammillary body. That means somewhere here where my cursor is moving. So from here to here, this is the extent of the hypothalamus below this subthalamic sulcus. Below the subthalamic sulcus or the hypothalamic sulcus. Now this has various boundaries. Hypothalamus will have various boundaries. Let us come to the anterior boundary of the hypothalamus. Now this anterior boundary of the hypothalamus extends from the anterior commissure. See, this point is the anterior commissure to that of the optic chiasma. Thus, if we see the anterior boundary, above it is anterior commissure, then lamina terminalis, and this right up to the optic chiasma. That is the anterior boundary of the hypothalamus. Posteriorly, as I suggested, that it is a vertical imaginary line passing posterior to the mammillary bodies that will limit it posteriorly, okay, to the hypothalamus. Superiorly, it is the hypothalamic sulcus, and this will separate it from, okay, dorsally located thalamus. Okay, so it is ventral to that of the thalamus. That is the superior boundary will be the hypothalamic sulcus. Let us see the inferior boundary. The inferior boundary of the hypothalamus is nothing but the floor of the third ventricle also, because as I said that the medial wall of the hypothalamus itself forms the lateral wall of the third ventricle on its ventralmost part. Otherwise, the thalamus and hypothalamus both they found the lateral wall of the third ventricle. So this will be and covered by ependyma. So what we will see here in the inferior boundary, which is the floor of the third ventricle, it extends from the optic chiasma where my cursor is there. This is optic chiasma, then this will go to the tuberosinium, and then this is the infundibular stalk, and then posterior to it will be the site for the mammillary bodies. Okay, so these structures which are in the floor of the third ventricle, they will form the inferior boundary of the hypothalamus. Thus all boundaries are clear to you except the medial I have covered also. That means you have seen the anterior boundary, you have seen the posterior boundary, you have seen the superior, and you have seen the inferior boundary, and this is that medial boundary. Okay, and this medial boundary of the hypothalamus is nothing but the lateral wall of the third ventricle. That means in between the right and left wall of this hypothalamus, that space is the third ventricle, and this space is lined by the ependyma. Okay, ependymal surface. Now only one boundary is remaining, and that is the lateral boundary, deep boundary. Okay, this is the mid sagittal section from where I was explaining you the various boundary, but then deep to this the extent of the hypothalamus is limited by the band of the white matter, which is called as the internal capsule. Just to visualize the lateral boundary of the hypothalamus, let us see this coronal section. This is the right hypothalamus, and this is the left hypothalamus, and these are the two thalami, and these are the corpus lentiform nucleus is here, and in between this lentiform nucleus and thalamus, this is the white matter which is also covering, I would say, coming lateral to this hypothalamus. This is the portion of hypothalamus which is also forming the floor of the third ventricle, and these are the right and left mammillary body. So just lateral to the mammillary body, okay, here is the extension of that of the internal capsule. So the lateral boundary or lateral relation of this hypothalamus is nothing but that of the internal capsule. You can see this is thalamus, this is the third ventricle, this is the floor of the third ventricle, and here you can see the two mammillary bodies, right and left mammillary body, present in the floor of the third ventricle, which are part of the hypothalamus, and this white band of the fiber which is going here is nothing but that of the internal capsule. So this is that internal capsule which will form its lateral boundary on right as well as onto the left side. Let us see the now, after seeing the extent and the boundaries of the hypothalamus, let us see now the subdivisions of the hypothalamus. Now, hypothalamus is a mass of the gray matter, and in which there are collection of the various nuclei. Okay, and these nuclei, they are arranged, okay, which we can see into the two different patterns. So the hypothalamus consists of many nuclei, and to locate the position of this nuclei, and these nuclei are very small, okay, because hypothalamus itself is very small, and in this so many nuclei are present, okay. So the just to locate the presence of this nucleus, it is better, okay, to divide this hypothalamus into two different planes. And let us see what are these planes in which we are dividing the hypothalamus to locate the various nuclei. The first plane which is usually used is the mediolateral subdivision, okay, from medial to the lateral. Let us see here. This is the hypothalamus, optic chiasma, lamina terminalis, okay, anterior commissure is here. This is the floor of the third ventricle that is formed by the optic chiasma, the tuber cinereum, infundibular stalk here, and where it is attached, and then this is the mammillary body, okay, right up to the posterior end of, limit of the hypothalamus is a imaginary line posterior to that of the mammillary body, a vertical line. Okay, so this is that posterior limit, and so that from the lamina terminalis to the mammillary body, this part is the hypothalamus. And if we see it in the sagittal section, that is from the ventricular surface, that is from the third ventricle, okay, which is lined by ependyma, then it is divided. And if we go from medial to lateral side, okay, then it is divided in the one medial part and the lateral part. And how then it is divided into mediolateral subdivision? This is divided with the help of the column of the fornix, okay. This is known as the pink bundle of white fiber is called as here column of the fornix, which is coming here and then going in through the substance of the hypothalamus, which is a gray matter, substance is gray matter, and then these fibers are ending into the nucleus of mammillary body, and mammillary body itself is the part of the hypothalamus. And then from mammillary body, another band of the fibers is starting, or a tract is starting, and this tract which is going vertically upward dorsally towards the thalamus is called as mammillothalamic tract. So this is, it is divided into medial and lateral group of the hypothalamus, nuclei, with the help of the mediolateral subdivision because of the presence of the column of fornix and the mammillothalamic tract. Now the lateral subdivision will be present deep to it, okay, deep to the column of fornix and this mammillothalamic tract. So roughly we divide the nuclei which are superficially, that is mean medial subdivision, and deep subdivision, that means lateral subdivision. This is the one way of dividing the group of nuclei which are placed, okay, medially, or they are placed laterally, okay. But then a better subdivision is there which is not, which don't take the consideration of medial or lateral, but here the group of the nuclei are divided into the four subdivisions, okay, they are divided, and this four subdivision is one number is given here, so anterior to posterior, hence it is called as anteroposterior subdivision. If we see the four subdivision of anteroposteriorly organized, the first subdivision is preoptic, it is called as preoptic, where it is written 1. Where it is written 2, it is the supraoptic, it is called as supraoptic. and where it is written as 3, it is the infundibulotubercle, just above the infundibular stalk and tubercinarium. So this is the infundibulotubercle subdivision. Okay, and the fourth division is above the mammillary body, and it is called as the mammillary subdivision. This will be called as mammillothalamic. Where the tract is going, it is called as the mammillary subdivision. Okay, so how many divisions are there? Preoptic, because it is just close to the optic, I mean say lamina terminalis. Okay, then the supraoptic above the optic chiasma, and supraoptic above the infundibular stalk, hence it is infundibulotubercle, and the mammillary fourth, because it is above the mammillary body. Okay, so these are the subdivision from anterior to posterior side. Let us move further and see now the actual I mean to say this nuclei, division of gray masses into various nuclei. Okay, let us come to first mediolateral subdivision. And this mediolateral subdivision, as I said, they are demarcated. Medial is from lateral because of the presence of the anterior column of fornix and this mammillothalamic tract I have already covered. Let us see the nuclei of the medial zone, and this nuclei of the medial zone here, this is anterior commissure. Don't confuse it for the I mean to say for a nuclei. Wrongly color is given, wrong color. So this is a preoptic nucleus just posterior to the lamina terminalis. Okay, this is called as preoptic, and just below here, I mean to say above the optic chiasma, it is the suprachiasmatic. Then there is an anterior, small anterior nucleus, and a large vertical paraventricular nucleus is here. This is the paraventricular, and then it is the dorsomedial and ventromedial, because it is medial subdivision, hence it is called as dorsomedial and ventromedial. And then a large posterior nucleus, and within the infundibulum, okay, it is the infundibular nucleus. Okay, infundibular nucleus, and this nucleus is premammillary because it is placed just in front of the mammillary gland, and I'm sorry, not mammillary gland, mammillary body, hence it is called as premammillary. And this is within the mammillary body, it is the mammillary nucleus. So these are the medial subdivision nuclei. Okay, these are the nuclei which are present superficial to this mammillothalamic tract and to the anterior column of fornix. Now we will go to the lateral. Okay, in from medial to lateral nuclei, we will see the nuclei which are present deep to this this anterior column of fornix and the mammillothalamic tract. Now see, so the medial nuclei, I mean say superficial to this mammillothalamic tract and the column of fornix, that nuclei are removed. Okay, so you can see the lateral group of nuclei, okay, or lateral zone, and there is a large nucleus present, okay, extending right from the supraoptic region to that of the mammillary region. Okay, very large nucleus, and this is called as the lateral nucleus. Now if you see some of these nuclei from anterior to posterior, which are just placed superficial to that lateral nucleus, this is the preoptic, which was also present into the medial zone. Okay, so this is the same preoptic, but here a new nucleus has come, which is called as the supraoptic nucleus. There was suprachiasmatic, this is supraoptic nucleus. Then there is a small nucleus that is called as tuberal nucleus, and then deep to this tuberal nucleus, okay, and another nucleus is called as tuberomammillary. and within the mammillary body, it is the mammillary nucleus is located, which is present in both the zones, medial as well as the lateral zone, medial. So the preoptic nucleus is also present in both the zones, medial as well as that of the lateral zone. So these are the nuclei which are classified on the basis of the medial zone and the lateral zone. Okay, medial. Now we will see the another kind of subdivision, which is anteroposterior subdivision. But before I go to the anteroposterior, you can see in a coronal section also this nuclei. These are the medial zone nuclei, and then these are the lateral zone nuclei of the hypothalamus on right side and left side, because this is the third ventricle, this slit like and this is the mammillary body is here. Okay, so medial to lateral zones are shown here very roughly, just to give you an idea that this is the area of the hypothalamus. Okay, and this is that internal capsule fibers going here laterally. Okay, let us come to the second subdivision, and this subdivision is called as anteroposterior subdivision, which I said that preoptic, then supraoptic, then infundibulotuberal and mammillary. So from anterior to posterior, we will see just below these nuclei, just below the hypothalamic sulcus. Okay, this hypothalamic sulcus is there, and below that is the hypothalamus. This area is the hypothalamus, and we will see this nuclei just below that. Okay, let us come to the nuclei in various zones. Okay, and this nuclei of the various zone. Okay, medial zone in anteroposterior region. Okay, these are the nuclei of the medial zone, but classified as anteroposterior region. This was the anterior commissure, this the preoptic, and then suprachiasmatic. So preoptic nucleus is here. Okay, so this is preoptic elongated, which will be going both into the lateral zone also. So the preoptic nucleus is present in the area number 1, that is the preoptic, most anterior area. Then supraoptic. Okay, the second zone was the supraoptic, and how many nuclei are present? This supraoptic nucleus will have this elongated paraventricular, because it lies just deep to the ependyma, hence it is paraventricular group of the nucleus. Okay, then anterior nucleus, here is a small dot like nucleus, anterior nucleus, and then the third nucleus, which is here, suprachiasmatic. So how many nuclei are present in the supraoptic region just above the optic chiasma? It is paraventricular, it is anterior and suprachiasmatic nucleus. Okay, anterior and suprachiasmatic nucleus. Okay, I think I should, anyway, I will just cover their function a little more about the function in the last slide. I think better I should tell you here when I am just describing you the this nuclei. I should tell you about their function. Okay, just a minute here. Now we have learned about this preoptic nucleus, and preoptic nucleus regulate the release of gonadotrophic hormone. Okay, gonadotroph, very quickly, because next video is on the function also, but I am here telling you the specific function of individual nucleus. Suprachiasmatic nucleus regulates the circadian rhythm. Okay, day and night cycle rhythm is regulated by suprachiasmatic nucleus. Paraventricular nucleus, which is located here, it secretes the oxytocin, a hormone which acts on the smooth muscle, oxytocin. So that is secreted by the paraventricular nucleus, and anterior nucleus is responsible to act as temperature regulator and center for thrust. Okay, so it regulates the temperature, and the feeling of the thirst is because of this anterior nucleus. Then we come to the third zone, and that is the infundibulotuberal zone, and in the infundibulotuberal zone we get a dorsomedial and a ventromedial nucleus and an infundibular nucleus and the premammillary nucleus. Four nuclei are there in the third zone, that is the infundibulotuberal zone. Let us see the function very quickly about this. The dorsomedial is for the emotions, okay, it controls the emotion. Okay, then there is a ventromedial which suppresses the hunger, it is satiety center, that's opposite to the hunger center. Okay, then there is an infundibular nucleus which is present here. It regulates the secretion of the anti-pituitary gland by secreting the releasing factor. In the next video, I will teach you about this releasing factor and how it controls the anti-pituitary secretion. Now, what you will see here after this infundibular nucleus, that is the posterior nucleus is here. See this large nucleus here, that is posterior, which is part of the mammillary zone. The fourth zone is just above the mammillary, where the two nucleus are there, posterior nucleus and this mammillary nucleus. Two nuclei, posterior and we are in the medial zone, okay, in medial from anterior to posterior. Anterior, there are so many nuclei, okay. This controls the, that means this posterior large nucleus, it controls our cardiovascular function. Cardiovascular. The mammillary nucleus is the nucleus of the limbic system, okay, and it connects it to the thalamus. So it is also involved in the long-term memory. So when you are having a memory of your childhood, it is because of this mammillary nucleus. So it is involved in the long-term memory processing. So it is for memory is process. Now let us go to the last slide of this, and I will tell you about the nuclei which are present in the lateral zone. But again I will see them from anterior to the posterior side. Okay, see this. These are the nuclei which are deep to this column of fornix and that of the mammillary tract, and this nuclei as arranged in the area number 1 is preoptic, which we already learned, which was also there in the, I mean to say, in the medial zone present. But here it comes another in the area number 2, the preoptic area, I mean to say supraoptic area. Okay, it is in the supraoptic area, this nucleus which is sitting here. Okay, this nucleus is the supraoptic nucleus. Okay, it is supra. There it was suprachiasmatic. Here it is the supraoptic in the lateral zone, and supraoptic nucleus will secrete the ADH, okay, antidiuretic hormone. Now, if you go still posteriorly in the infundibulotuberal, okay, infundibular tuberal, yes, this is infundibulotuberal part, this is, and here is the tuberal nucleus, okay, single nucleus in the lateral zone. It is the tuberal nucleus is here, and this tuberal nucleus, we will see that it will be involved into the similar to that of the mammillary body. Okay, let us go to the this tuberomammillary nucleus. Okay, it is tuberomammillary nucleus is here, and this tuberomammillary nucleus, okay, this is just deep to that of the column of the fornix and mammillothalamic tract, and this is involved in the wakeful state. Your alertness, okay, your attention is because of your wakeful state, not sleeping. Just opposite through the sleep state is the tuberomammillary nucleus is here. Now lastly, this large nucleus extending into the supraoptic, infundibulolateral and mammillary, and it is most deeply situated nucleus, and this nucleus is I mean to say called as the lateral nucleus. Okay, this is called as the lateral nucleus, which is the part of the mammillary region also. I mean to say not mammillary, it is a spreading in the 3 zones, and that is the lateral nucleus. Okay, and this nucleus is involved in the, I think it is again eating. It induces the eating. One feel hungry and it induces the eating. That is that of the lateral nucleus beside that of the wakeful state. Okay, so this completes the various subdivision of the gray matter of the hypothalamus, and it, I mean say in very short their function. I will take these functions again. Thank you very much for watching this video.